Ex-girlfriend wouldn't let me break the lease, so I walked in on her with her new boyfriend. I posted this a couple of months ago on malicious compliance and a bunch of people suggested I post it here. I finally got around to it, so here you go. Just a quick note to head off a distraction from the last time I posted. I live in a big, expensive city in California. It is quite common for multiple people to live in a studio or one bedroom, or people to share a room even if they're not dating, and so on. Basically, it makes rent more affordable, and we are pretty good at putting up room dividers, or sheets if you want to make a sleeping area, and so on. Okay, now on to the fun. This happened about 10 years ago. I was dating this girl for a year and things were going pretty well. Both of the leases on our separate apartments were coming up for renewal, and we decided to get a place together so our relationship would go to the next level and we'd also save a good bit of money. At the time, I could really see myself with this girl. So, we sign a year lease on a new place, and for the first 4 months or so things are great. Then our relationship starts to fall apart. Not assigning blame here, you know how it is. It just didn't work out. The bummer though was she started to get pretty nasty to me, and after a few really ugly fights I decided to move out in a hurry. I got a cheap place across town and moved out on a Saturday because I just couldn't bear it anymore. So after about a week, I cool off enough to call her and ask her to get a new roommate and take me off the lease. She says no, I don't have time to get a new roomie and I can't afford the place alone. So, for the next 2 weeks I find 2 mutual friends willing to move in. She rejects them for stupid reasons and hasn't lifted a finger to find a suitable roommate. It dawns on me that she intends to live in this place alone for the next 8 months while I pay half the rent and half the utilities. Hell no. At this point I'm pissed. I am now paying 2 leases and utilities and so on. I got some money in the bank so I'm not in danger, but I can't afford to do this for long, and it just isn't reasonable. I had found out during our week without contact that she had already started dating another guy. I know that is super quick, a few days from our breakup, but I have no evidence she ever cheated, so no big deal. However, I did know that my ex was insatiable and we had sex every morning. We were together like clockwork. She had to get out of the house to make work by about 8:45 a.m., so we had sex at about 7:45 a.m. or so every morning. Our relationship had its positive aspects, and her being really into and amazingly good at sex was one of the good parts. So, anyway, I hatch a plan to get out of the lease. So, the next morning I get to our old place about 7:45 a.m., and wait in my truck until 7:50 a.m., figuring I knew her well enough to know it was good timing. Our place was a studio and the bed, our old bed, was across from the front door, and to the right was a little kitchen, dining area. So I turned the key and opened the door as fast as possible, and I was not disappointed. My ex was riding this guy and I make eye contact with him, lol. I'll never forget the look of shock, maybe mixed with shame, on his face. She rolls off him and pulls the covers up over them. They are both naked. Don't mind me, I say, and I go into the cupboard, get some of the Lucky Charms that I bought that is still in there. I pour a bowl, add some milk, and start chowing down, ignoring them. The dude can't move because his clothes aren't nearby. My ex is like, get the hell out of here. And I say, I'm still on this lease, this is my place, but you go ahead, don't let me interrupt you. She starts screaming at me, curses me out, throws a couple of shoes at me, misses, and basically has a meltdown from the bed while I calmly eat my cereal for about 15 minutes. Then I say, oh, will you look at the time, I gotta get to work. The dude didn't move an inch or open his mouth. The next day I open the door at 7:40 a.m. this time. Her and her new boy are awake and dressed. I say, oh, good morning, I have bagels, with a totally fake cheery smile. I put the bag of bagels and cream cheese on the counter and say, I'm just gonna get a shower real quick. She is calmer this time but starts swearing. She's gone when I get out of the shower, so I make a bagel and head out myself. I show up again at about 8 p.m. with some Chipotle. They are sitting on the bed watching TV. I sit at the counter on a bar stool, start tearing into my burrito, and start chatting like I'm their best friend. So what are we watching tonight? Oh, awesome, I haven't seen that show in years, cool. I stay for about 30 minutes, eating my burrito and then asking the guy stupid questions, just being super annoying. I recognize him from her friend group, but I honestly don't know his name. He seems super nervous and doesn't say much. My ex is really pissed and is fuming. The third morning I show up at 7:45 a.m. They aren't there. I take a shower, eat some cereal, and leave a polite note about how I'm sorry I missed them and I'll see them tonight. That day at work I got a bunch of faxes from my ex requesting my signature on a new lease on the apartment, as well as signatures canceling our power, water, cable, and internet bills. I really enjoyed signing all those and faxing them back. I never saw or heard from either of them again.